Okay, I have let in everyone in the waiting room so far. Good evening, everyone. I'm Julie Kane, Director of Special Projects. I'm here today with Liliana Martinez, our District Community Communications Coordinator, as well as our special guest tonight, Dana Salas from the California Department of Education, who's going to share with you some amazing resources for your children. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Dana and let you tell us all about all the wonderful resources that are available. So thank you, Dana.
Thank you, Julie and Liliana. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen to start. Okay. So thank you everyone for attending. We're going to be talking about the CalKIDS program and the Scholarshare 529 program. These are both great resources in helping your family pay for higher education in the future. CalKIDS is very exciting because it's free money for college. So we'll teach you all about what you need to do to claim those funds if you're eligible. But let's get started with CalKIDS to begin. So CalKIDS, as the name involves there, it's California Kids Investment and Development Savings Program. So it is a state program through the state of California that sets money aside in a savings account for kids. So I do have a video that I'd like to share to briefly introduce the program, give you a brief overview. And I do want to warn you, it starts off a little loud. Let me see if I could lower it. But just don't be surprised. Sometimes it's a little loud.
Here in California, we believe our kids have a future worth saving for. That's why the state of California is providing free funded college savings accounts for millions of our kids. How does CalKIDS work? There are two eligible groups, newborns and students. Babies born in California on or after July 1st, 2022 may already have up to $175 saved for college in their CalKIDS account waiting to be claimed. Eligible low-income public school students in grades 1 through 12 may already have up to $1,500 saved for college in their CalKIDS account waiting to be claimed. Learn more and claim your child's free money for college today at calkids.org.
Okay, so that was a good sneak peek. So CalKIDS is a state program through the California State Treasurer's Office, and it is a program specifically designed to help children save for college or career training after high school. And it is overseen by the Scholarshare Investment Board at the California State Treasurer. So just so you know, because a lot of families are skeptical, there's a lot of misinformation out there, but it is a legitimate program. And we thank Lawndale as well for inviting us to speak to you all about it. But we are a real program. So if you've heard about it, maybe you've seen a commercial already, or you've gotten a letter through the mail, it is a real program, and your kids may be entitled to some money for college. So that's kind of the background of who oversees the program. So what do we know about college savings? So CalKIDS, because there's some research and studies out there that show that kids with at least some sort of college savings are 3 times more likely to attend college. And then children with a college savings account are 4 times more likely to graduate from college. So these research findings, the California government decided to create these CalKIDS accounts so that kids have something set aside so they could be motivated and graduate high school and go on to college and everything. So that's the purpose of the CalKIDS program. That's why it was created. So as you saw in the video, there are 2 groups that are eligible for CalKIDS. One is all California newborns, and then there's low to moderate income public school students. Let me see real quick. There is a question in the chat. I just want to mention that we will have time for question and answer at the end, but feel free to chat in your questions. That way you don't forget. We'll save those answers for the end. But thank you for the questions. Keep them coming. So all California newborns born after July 1st on or after July 1st of 2022. So maybe some of you all have young children, maybe this may apply to you, but for the most part, we'll be focusing on the student group, their eligibility. But if you have friends and families that may have a newborn, this is a great program for them to let them know. So there is a way to determine eligibility. So first, we have been sending notification letters through the mail. So you may have received one and you get this letter and it has some information on it. Maybe it looks similar to this. And it will have a unique CalKIDS code that's specific to your eligible student or child. And when you are ready to claim the account, that special unique code you will need for claiming. Now, if you're not sure if you're eligible, maybe you didn't get the letter or maybe it got lost, you opened it and you set it aside, it's okay because we have our eligibility tool. This is a snapshot of what our website looks like. So it's at calkids.org. So you would navigate to the website and there's a blue box that says, "Are you eligible?" And that's one way to confirm if you're eligible. It will take you to a pop-up screen and it'll ask you a series of questions like, is your child a student, they're newborn, the next, and then you would need their statewide student identifier, so their SSID. It's usually 10 digits. And if you have questions on getting that number, Julie and Liliana can help you with that. But it's that SSID number that you will be needing to claim and check eligibility for CalKIDS. There's just 3 things that are needed to claim the account, which I'll get to in a few slides. But just right off the bat, we don't require any ITINs or SSNs or anything like that. It's just your 10-digit student state ID. So those are 2 ways to determine your eligibility. So now I'll touch briefly on the newborn aspect of this group, of this award, because maybe you have kids that are newborns or you know of others. So each child born on California on or after July 1st of 2022, regardless of income status, is eligible. So all newborns that have been born on or after that date get an account automatically. They don't have to do anything. They're just born and they get this account. So we get information on who is born and everything through the Department of Public Health. So that's who gives us the data. But as soon as a child's born, maybe it takes about 90 days for them to be in the system. And then after that, CalKIDS creates an account for them. It's as easy as that. The newborns, they get mostly, it depends on their birth because there were some changes to the program early on. But it could be up to $175 for some. But here you can see the breakdown of what newborns can potentially have at birth as a seed deposit that's given through the state of California. It is a one-time award and it stays with them until they're ready to use it in the future, many, many years later. But it is their award that's theirs to keep, even if they move out of California, whatever the case may be, it's their scholarship award for them to use later on. Now, I will be talking about the Scholarship 529 program, but here we have an incentive if families go on to claim the account and do all those things, and they decide to link a new or existing Scholarship 529 account, we give them an extra $50. So it's just an option for them to keep saving that way, but I'll talk more about the Scholarship 529 towards the end. That way you're familiar with that program. So now let's talk about the students. That's mostly, you have all these children in school now, they're elementary school, so this mostly applies to you. So eligibility for CalKIDS. It is a program, so 2 groups, remember, newborns and low to moderate income public school students. So usually if a child is receiving free and reduced lunch officially through the local control funding formula, then you're most likely going to be eligible for CalKIDS. But obviously, if you're not sure, check the eligibility first. But usually if your student is receiving a meal through the National School Lunch Program, it might be eligible for CalKIDS. Now, there are a few other identifiers that might help. There's CalFresh, CalWorks, maybe you have these items going, and this can also help you have the CalKIDS account. But it's mostly if you have information through your school that you filled out your school lunch program information, and maybe you filled out some census data, like if your child is an English learner, migratory, let's say, then you may be eligible for CalKIDS as well. And there are some extra funds available for homeless and foster students as well. So I'll show you the amount that kids get for the CalKIDS award for the student side. But we do get the information from the Department of Education. So there is no income scale or anything like that. So families ask, what is the income limit, let's say. We don't have an income scale because all we do is work with the Department of Education to determine eligibility by using their local control funding formula, so LCFF. So if you have those paperworks in place, then you should be good to go. So I think for this year, the fall academic census day, I know October is flying by, but might have been last week, Wednesday. So that's the census day that California Department of Education does every year. By then, if your child is enrolled in school, all those kind of things, then you may be eligible for CalKIDS as well. So sorry if I confused you. Hopefully you can be a little more clear with this slide. So eligibility again, so let's talk it through. So the first year, when CalKIDS awarded students, it awarded a lot of students the academic year 21-22. So the first year, it awarded about 3.4 million students across California and all California counties. So there was eligible 1st to 12th grade public school students. So if your student is now a little older, maybe they're first, maybe up to 6th grade, they might be eligible for CalKIDS. Now, if you have kids that are in 12th grade now or high school juniors, high school middle schoolers, they may be eligible for CalKIDS as well. So it is a program for 1st to 12th graders. And the program has been around CalKIDS for 2 years now. So 2 years ago, if your students, you think they may be eligible, check eligibility for older children you may have. But also if you have children that graduated already, they might be eligible as well. But for all those current younger students in elementary schools, many of them may be eligible as well. So that first year, it took a lot of kids and it awarded a lot of kids. Now, every year moving forward after that first cohort of students that got an award, only eligible first graders are now awarded moving forward, starting with the academic year 22-23 and beyond. So let's say this year, the academic census day was last week, let's say. So now when your child is in 2nd grade, then they would be officially enrolled into CalKIDS. They would officially have an automatic account created for them. So I would say if you have a first grader, a current first grader, to check when they're in 2nd grade to see if they're eligible for CalKIDS. Now, if you have a 3rd grader, 2nd grader, or 5th grader, whatever the case may be, they may be eligible now. So it's good to check right away. But just FYI for those that have current first graders, they may have a CalKIDS award next year set up for them officially, just because we have to gather all this data that the CDE has from the school lunch program and all these things. So once we get all that information, it takes a little while on our end to set up accounts, and then they will be created for them. But just FYI. So hopefully this all makes sense, but I will be answering questions at the end. So if you have any questions, please jot them down. So now the CalKIDS award. So what they get is an initial $500. So it's a big chunk of money there. So if they are eligible right off the bat, they get $500. Now, if your student was also identified as a foster youth during that census day, either 2 years ago or currently, they may have an additional $500. Now, if your student was identified as unhoused, then they may get an additional $500. So it could be in some situations that kids get $1,000 because maybe they have one of these situations, or maybe they have up to $1,500, or perhaps they just have the $500. So it really depends on the situation of the student. But this money is put into an account automatically if your child is eligible. So that's all that there is for now. Now, these accounts are just a one-time award that they are given, and they are placed into a savings account that does gain a little bit of interest. So it does have a little earning potential there. So you may claim your account today, let's say, and you think you're going to get $500, but maybe now you have $560. And that's because there's a little bit of interest generating. So by the time they're ready to use it for college, they might have a little extra funds in there because of the interest. So don't be surprised if you notice that you have a little extra funds in there. It's because of the interest. And it is placed into a very conservative account. So you don't have to worry about it being lost or anything like that. But just FYI. Now, qualified CalKIDS expenses. Now, there might be some years to go for you families. Now you have younger kids in elementary school. But in the future, this is what the kids will be able to use the funds for. So it'll be for tuition and related fees, perhaps, or it could be used for books and supplies, computer equipment, maybe software that's needed for classes. Now, CalKIDS is treated as a scholarship. So it is a scholarship award, and it is processed as a scholarship. So when the student is ready to use the funds, a check gets sent directly to the higher education institution as a scholarship. So that's how that would work. Now, many of you may still have some time to work this out, but just information for you so you're aware. But if you have kids that are older, maybe they're in high school, feel free to share this information too, because it might apply to them and maybe they're getting ready to use it and they could use these funds for those type of things. So now I don't know if it'll play or not, but I have a video that walks you through how to claim the account. But if it doesn't work, I apologize. And let me just try. Yeah, it hasn't been working lately for some reason. But it is a video that is found on our YouTube page because it was a great video to share because it walks you through how to claim the account, which is really simple. All you have to do is go to calkids.org, click the claim button, and then it asks for your state student identifier, your SSID, or that unique code that's found on the notification letter that we sent you, your child's date of birth, and the county of the school they were enrolled in on that census day. So depending on when they were enrolled. So those three things are needed to claim the account. And from there, you just create a new profile, and it's really easy to do, I promise. And it just takes about 15 minutes. So if you want to do that later on after this presentation, feel free to watch the video so you can get familiar with it, or you could just go on and do it yourself. It's really a simple process. But now that was mostly the information about the CalKIDS program. So now let's talk a little bit about the Scholarshare 529 account. So it works hand in hand with CalKIDS because CalKIDS is a scholarship program. So you can't directly put or contribute money into the CalKIDS account. A lot of families ask, can they contribute to it? Unfortunately, it's not because it's owned by the state and it is a scholarship. But if you would like to contribute, so to speak, we encourage you to open a Scholarshare 529 account. So this is what that is. So a 529 plan they are accounts that are available throughout the country, but the one I'm speaking about today is Scholarshare 529, and it's California's official 529. Now it's just bragging rights that we have that Scholarshare 529 were the official plan, but there are many out there for you to pick from. But the California one is really great because all the earnings that you make from your savings are tax-free, so more money for college. And when you're ready to use the funds for college, you will have to pay taxes. It's only 100% tax-free on distributions when the money is used for qualified higher education expenses. So that's a good perk as well because less taxes to pay, more money that you could use for books and supplies and things. So the funds can be used at eligible schools nationwide and abroad as well. So in-state, out-of-state, we are the California plan, but you can use it anywhere as long as the school that they're going to use the funds is accredited and works with the FAFSA, the financial aid application. As long as it's good there, it's good to go. Now, the 529 plan does have a few requirements. So anyone that wants to open a 529 plan does have to be a US citizen or resident at least 18 years old or older with a valid social security number or tax ID number. And this is just for the 529 plan. So if families want to open up a plan, they could do so. They just have to follow these guidelines. And if you are claiming your CalKIDS account, it's an option for you that's going to be available on the CalKIDS profile. So it's not required, but it's an option for you to keep saving the funds or saving your money so that you could help your kids pay for college in the future. So just real quick to recap the Scholarship 529 program. It is California's official college savings plan because there are other 529s out there, but we're official California. And we have been around for over 20 years to helping families to pay for college. And there is a statistic here that I like to highlight because it shows that there's about 13 billion in assets. And that just shows that families are using the program to pay and save for college, and they have funds in there. And there's a lot of good success stories that families have used the 529 to pay for their kids' education. So it's another resource for you to save for college, another way to help you save, because sometimes you don't know that these programs exist, but they are out there. There's other scholarships you could use and things like that. But there is a way to save with some tax advantages. So this is the program that you could use. And again, it is overseen by the Scholarship Investment Board, chaired by the California State Treasurer. So same as CalKIDS, we work together. Now, this is a hypothetical example of what it looks like when you save over time. So let's say this family here started saving at age 1, let's say. The blue is all the money they've been saving over the years. And the orange are the potential earnings that they get. And it's just them saving $100 per month. But it could be a little different for you, maybe more, maybe less, who knows? And if you get started a little later in life, that's okay too, because anything helps in the long run. So it's never too late. We like to encourage families to start as early as they can, but it's never too late because your kids may pursue medical school or PhDs, and that takes a long time. So you have extra time to keep saving, not just the traditional 4 years. So there's a good amount of time to save for the kids. So take advantage of the time you have to keep saving. But it is something to think about. It is an investment vehicle. So when you save your money, it will be invested. So just think about that. You're going to be in the money market, but we have an array of portfolios that you could pick from, some conservative if you are just wanting to get a little earnings but not be too risky. But we do have some portfolios that are more aggressive. Let's say if you're more investment savvy, we have some that work for different families. So this is just another way for you to pay for college. Maybe if you plan ahead, it can really help in the long run, but it's never too late and anything helps really. So whatever you're able to do. The minimum to open an account with Scholarshare is only, $0. So it's not a big commitment. You just open up a plan. You can decide how much to save at that time, but it's $0. You could just test it out if you'd like. This is just another example of how more money for college. So the gray here, the gray bar, it shows that maybe you're saving in your checkings account, which is good. But here there's some other taxable investment accounts that you may use, which is good too. They get a little bit of interest. But here with Scholarship 529, it's a hypothetical example, but it just shows you the growth potential of your dollar. It could grow a little more. So, saving is a really great way to reach your goals, but having these type of advantages through the state and the government that they give you these ways to pay for college with some tax advantages, it could really help. And it could just mean more money for college because of all the earnings. So that's how the Scholarship 529 program works as well. And in order to open a Scholarship 529 account, you can just go directly to scholarship529.com But if you're navigating the CalKIDS website and let's say you claim your account, you can do so from the CalKIDS portal as well. So let's see. So yes, that's pretty much the information on the scholarship program. I wanted to make sure that you got the information because CalKIDS is a newer program. We want to make sure that you're aware of it and that your kids claim their money. But there's also the Scholarship 529, which is a great resource. If perhaps maybe your children are not eligible for CalKIDS, they're not left out, there's still a program out there for them that you can help, that you could use to save for college too. So you could have those college savings that, remember, the studies show that kids with something saved for college are more likely to graduate college and pursue it. So anything helps. So here are a few resources for you all. So I recommend you visit the CalKIDS website, so calkids.org, because on there you can check your eligibility or you can go directly to claim your account. We do have our YouTube page, has a few other videos that you can browse through, and like the one I was going to show you. So if you want to get a test look of what it looks like to claim the account, you could visit that. We do have our social media platforms are good to keep an eye on because sometimes we have promotions or updates on the program. So just feel free to follow us there. And if you do need some extra help, we do have our call center on calkids.org, but here's the number as well. Or you could email us through the Contact Us tab that you could go through at calkids.org. It's a good feature if you want to have a question you just couldn't get answered today, let's say. So those are some resources for you all to take advantage of. Now, there are some other resources for parents that may be more engaged. There's a toolkit on there that you could use flyers, download them at your will to share with your own community members at the various friends and families, so feel free to use those, that toolkit if you'd like to share it with other families as well. So that's pretty much what I have for you all. So now let's go through and do some question and answer. So I have a few slides that are some frequently asked questions, and then I'll go ahead and look at the chat. So to start off, we have, will CalKIDS funds impact my ability to receive financial aid in the future? So the CalKIDS program should not affect financial aid because it is just a scholarship. So it's not going to be counted on as income or anything like that. It's just a scholarship that gets sent directly to the school. But your student may want to consult the financial aid office of the higher education institution they'll be enrolled in the future, just to make sure, but it should be okay with financial aid. The CalKIDS award does not need to be paid back. It is a scholarship through the state of California. So don't worry about having to pay it back or anything like that. And you do not need to provide a social security number or tax ID number for the CalKIDS program. There's only 3 identifiers that are needed. It's that unique code on your letter that you may have gotten through the mail. If you don't have it, it's that SSID, your statewide student ID. And then that's the one thing. And then the date of birth and the county of the school your child was enrolled in, or if they're a newborn, the county where they were born. So those 3 things are needed, and that's it. We don't require any personal information like that. So I believe those are the 3 that I had. So let me go ahead and check the chat. Let's see. So someone said, hello, I saw the video mention newborns in 1st grade and up only about what about kindergarten students? So unfortunately, kindergarten students are not counted on for CalKIDS, but when they enter 1st grade, your child will have the opportunity to be eligible for CalKIDS. So at 1st grade, they'll go to school and they'll be going through the census day. So by 2nd grade, then your child might be eligible for CalKIDS, and you could check their eligibility at that point. So unfortunately, no kindergarten student award, but when they're in 2nd grade, you can officially check if they're eligible. So someone asked, what if your child is not born in California, but has been living in California since 2015? So it's okay for CalKIDS if your child wasn't born in California, as long as they were enrolled in school in, let's say they were a first grader when that, let me see, when the first cohort of students were awarded the 21-22 school year, if they were enrolled in school, if they have a SSID, then they might be eligible for CalKIDS. They should be okay, because we don't require like residency for CalKIDS. It's just the date of birth, the county of the school they're enrolled in, and their SSID. So in case they're not born here, it's okay. Now for the newborn award, they do have to be born in California to receive the newborn money. Let's see, someone else asked, what if my kids are not born in the USA? Do they get the college account money? Well, similar to the previous question. So if they're a student and they were enrolled in school during those census days, is specifically starting from the 21-22 school year and on, they might be eligible for CalKIDS still. So it doesn't matter if they were born in the US or not. Someone asked, hello, where can I obtain the SSID? Let me see. So I think Liliana mentioned it. I'm not sure. Yeah, Julie and Liliana, they mentioned it. So I think maybe Julie and Liliana, if you guys can speak on the SSID, like where they can find their SSID, that would be helpful. But it looks like it's in the chat as well.
Sure, Dana, I can just say,
Mhm.
and I can cold call because one of our community liaisons, Daniela, is in the webinar. And I would say your community liaison or your ELERT is the person most able to help you look up your SSID. I did put a link for a video that shows you how to do it, but if you're like me and you might need a little more help, I recommend you reach out to your community liaison. And Daniela, I don't know if you're available to give any of your expertise.
Yes, so if you any Smith parents, if you're questioning where your SSID, just you can email me, call me, or stop by, and I will have that for you.
Okay, great.
Thank you, Daniela.
Mhm. And let's see, someone else asked, how often do they receive these funds? So it is just a one-time award for newborns and public school students. It's just a one-time award, and they do go into the CalKIDS account. So that's where the money is set aside. And if you want to claim the account, you go to calkids.org. So that's where the money would be set aside. And let's see. So someone asked, is there a deadline to apply? There is no deadline, so to speak. So as long as your student, if they turn 26 and they haven't used or claimed their CalKIDS account, then it would disappear at that point. But they do have until the age of 26 to claim and use it all. So the deadline is until they're 26. So if you have young ones now, make sure that they claim their funds. That way they have access to it. They have a profile set up so they could see their balance. And that's the profile is where they will need to go and to distribute the funds in the future. So they could start using it at the age of 17, but they have until the age of 26 to use it all. Let's see. Someone asked, please, how about the immigrant with green card? So with the CalKIDS account, so it does not require them to have been, well, for the student award, they don't need to necessarily have been born in the US. For the newborns, they do have to be born to get that newborn award. But for students, as long as they were enrolled in school, then they should be okay. Let me see. So someone a little confused there about the newborn account. Let me see. Yes, so if your child is maybe kind of in between, not yet in first grade and not a newborn, so if they were born on or after July 1st of 2022, then they may be eligible for the newborn account. If not, if they're maybe in between, that they would have to wait until first grade. And if everything still applies for the first grader, then they may be eligible for CalKIDS then. But by second grade, they might have their account set up. So you might have to wait until they're a little older to check to see if they have CalKIDS. But in any case, the Scholarship 529 program is still a great way to start saving for college because there's no time limits on that one. You can open one anytime. let's see. And someone asked if someone is currently in college, they can access. Yes, so if there's a first or second year student, perhaps now, they may be eligible for CalKIDS. So as long as they were enrolled in a public school in the 21-22 school year, they may be eligible for CalKIDS. So if you have students that are already graduated high school, feel free to let them know about the CalKIDS perk because they might have money just sitting there waiting for them to claim it. So yes. Someone asked, does my kid lose the money if we move out of California? No, you don't. So if your child is eligible for CalKIDS and they have their account, it's theirs to keep, even if they move out of the state or out of the country. It's their account. As long as they use it by the age of 26, and they will have access to it. So as long as that's good, then that's fine. So you don't have to just live in California to use the funds. So let's see. Someone asked, can we still create a newborn account after 2 years? Yes, if you have never claimed your newborn account, you could still claim it. It's still going to be active. Their newborn account is there. So it's just waiting for you to claim it. So if you have a newborn, follow the steps to claim their account as well. For the newborns, I didn't specifically talk about it, but you will need if you got the notification letter, you could use that. But if not, you could use their local registration number found on the birth certificate, their date of birth, and the county where they were born. So those are the 3 things you would need for the newborn to check if they're eligible and to claim their accounts. So it's not too late if you have a newborn and you haven't claimed it. Someone asked, can I apply for my 6th grader and 3rd grader? Yes, so the accounts are open or they were created for 1st to 12th graders. So yes, your 3rd, 6th grader may be eligible. So I recommend you check your eligibility at calkids.org. There's a blue button that says check eligibility, and you just need the SSID, and you'll be good to go on that to check. So it looks like I'm caught up with the questions. Feel free to chat some more in, or if you want to unmute yourself, it's totally fine. But in the meantime, I thank you for attending and watching the CalKIDS in Scholarship 529 presentation today. I hope that your students are able to claim these funds and then take advantage of these resources. But thank you very much. But I'll be here if you have some other questions.